All right, welcome to GoToMath.com. This is going to be something different than my regular math videos. I'm going to introduce some programming, and I've chosen JavaScript. Considering this web page is written in JavaScript, I've kind of chosen JavaScript. We're going to be focusing mainly, obviously, on math. And not really the programming, but the programming language. But we're going to be focusing on mathematics using the programming language to do all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, so JavaScript is what we're going to be learning um, and focusing on math. All right, so I am going to we're going to learn calculus and approximating values using programming, and believe it or not, it's going to be a whole lot easier to learn calculus this way. um, anyway, not really the theoretical aspects of it, but just the approximating the solutions. But this particular one here, we're going to do something simple here. We're going to of course set up this table. There's a table, you can't really see it here. It kind of organizes everything. Um, anyway, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to come up with an M, which is the slope, the Y-intercept. This is actually in slope-intercept form here. So we're going to type in, let's say we know M and we know B, and we know a range, or let's say, the domain, and actually our output is going to be integer values, positive integer values actually. Okay, so this is going to be something typical that you're going to actually see in in a lot of the problems. So we need to kind of get this down. So we got, let's say that our slope is 5, and our y-intercept, we'll say that it's 6, and let's say we're going to be our domains between 1 and 20. Click, and wow, there you go. There's a table, right? So never done this before. Anyway, you can't see it here, but it goes all the way down to 20 here. So this is the project that we're going to be working on. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look up on how to get this guy right here to display onto the web page. So that's what we're going to work on first, and then we'll focus on this here second. All right, so let me just bring up the whiteboard, and okay, so let's say that we got y is equal to mx plus b, and we're going to be on some interval between, let's say, well, from a to b, and a and b are elements of z. Now, if you don't know what z is the set of integers, and moreover, it's actually a set of positive integers. Okay, and if you don't know what an integer is, well, I'll tell you, it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, dot, dot. And of course, integers in general, we have -1, -2, -3, and on in that direction. But this is just the positive integers. Now, 0, you can consider that to be a positive integer, I suppose. But this is also the set of whole numbers here, right? The set of whole numbers. And if we started with 1, from 1 to counting out towards infinity, that would be the set of natural numbers. Okay, so we need to kind of get that language down. But anyway, so let's say, for example, we have y is equal to 5x plus 3, let's say. Okay, so we've derived this up, and it represents something. Who knows what it is? And we want to go from 1, let's say, to 10. So what we're going to do is, and of course I've got a column over here that says number, and all that's doing is just counting. All that's going to be doing is just counting all of them, right, however many there are. So we can look over and go, oh, go all the way to the bottom, there's 14 of them. But anyway, so the first column is going to be our domain. I'll just label it as D domain, which is coming from here. And so what's happening here is we're going to plot a 1 in that first or second column, I mean, and then the range. We'll say this the range. And so this would be like 5 times 1 plus 3, and that would be 8. And then of course 2, and this would be 5 times 2 plus 3 is 13. So this is what we want to plot onto the web page. Okay, this is what we want to come up with. Now, this is actually useful, believe it or not, and we'll be doing a lot of this in calculus. And if you don't know calculus or never taken calculus, believe it or not, it's going to be a whole lot easier to write some algorithms to do some things and actually work the problems out. I'm not kidding. Anyway, and the whole idea is to get you to learn calculus plus some computer programming at the same time. All right, but this is just to get us started. So the first thing we're going to want to do is how to make a table if you don't know how. So right, so we're going to want to know how to figure out how to make a table. So this is going to be kind of a table here, and I think I've got 3 columns. A column here, yeah, 3 columns. One for just counting the numbers, and then the domain, and then our range. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead, go back to here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page and get rid of that. So this is what we're focusing on right here. So let me bring up a couple things here. We'll bring up, we're just going to use, I'm going to use Notepad. Okay. Now I do use several different kinds of text editors. Sublime Text is a really good one. And I just learned this just recently that Google actually has DrivePad or DrivePad or something like that, which I was going to actually, that's it right there, DrivePad, and it's got this cool little thing. So if I can, oh, I can't, yeah, there it is, that you can do all kinds of cool stuff in, and I was going to use this, but you know what, I'm just going to go back to Notepad. Okay, so we're just going to use Notepad. All right, that's what we're going to use is Notepad. Okay, so the first things first. Well, there's actually the math website that I didn't mean to click on that. Okay, trying to get some screens to pop up here, and I'm not having very good luck. Okay, got everything up, I guess. So anyway, we're going to use Notepad. You know, use what you want, I guess. It's just for some reason, it's just a whole lot easier, it seems like. Well, so we're going to set up our HTML script. So hopefully maybe you've done this before. If you've never done this before, just follow me. I'm not going to really go into a lot of details on what's going on here. I guess you just kind of learn by observation. And let's see, close the body, and close the HTML. Okay. So this is usually your setup. You have an HTML tag at the top, an HTML tag at the bottom, and everything in between. Okay, now you notice this / right here. Anytime we close a tag, we usually put a /, as you can see here. Okay, now I'm going to be putting the script. Now this is where the JavaScript is going to be. I'm going to be putting this in the head tag. All right, and its output is going to be appearing in the body tag down here, the body tag. Okay, So that's just the way I'm going to do it, and it works out just fine. All right. Okay, so our JavaScript is going in here. We're not going to write any JavaScript just yet. What we're going to do is get this table. We're going to get this table to appear. Okay, this is what we want to build right here. All right. Okay, a table. So there's a pretty easy way, believe it or not, of actually doing that. And we're going to do that down here in the body. Down here in the body. All right. So we start with table. It's a table, and there's a row, a table row, and then there's table data. Okay. And remember, you close the tag, table data, and then we'll start with some more table data, and more table data, and then we'll have a table row, or in table row, in table row. And I'm going to make the borders appear so you can actually see. The borders are they're not appearing because, well, we don't have them turned on, but I'll turn them on so you can see more what's going on with that. But anyway, so this part here, this table data, is going to be uh, this. This is table data, okay, and then this guy right here is also table data, table data, table data. So you have a row, 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 row right here, and then of course down here we have a button. Now this up here is that actually is just one table data in a table row. So I guess we need to, and I'm not going to, like I said, I guess I better finish what I was about to say. I'm not going to put in the go to math there. Okay, so this was the table data, and it was Y, or we had, if you notice, it's black. Um, there's a tag called a heading tag, H3, and as this number gets larger and larger, the smaller it gets. And of course, 1 is the largest it can get. But I think that's H3. So Y equals mx plus b, that's the y, or the slope intercept form, and then our domain is from A to B. Alright, and close H3, and now we need to close our table data. Alright, and then close table row. Okay. Alright, so that should take care of that top part. Now we'll go down to the next row. Okay, put our table data in. Now this one here was, remember, the slope. This was the slope, and it's equal to, now we're going to go ahead and close that. That's that. Oh, I already did that, didn't I? We're just typing it in. Okay, got it. Now this next one, we have a text box, and its tag is going to be input. It's an input tag, and there's a couple types. We got type, you could put type number, but I'm just going to go ahead and say type text. Alright, type text. Now each one of these boxes has what's called an ID, so you can kind of think of it as we'll say just Y-int for Y-intercept. You can think of it as whatever's in there is a variable. Alright, as a variable. And I remember when that finally clicked in my head, it took a while when I was first learning this stuff. And when it did, when it clicked about that ID thing, man, it was something I was missing all along. So Okay, so that's going to be our other table data, right? Now, what I'm going to do here is we're going to save some time, and I'm going to, well, I'm going to go ahead and just copy that. Anytime you can copy and paste, do it. Control V. Okay, so this one here was going to be, let's see, we had slope. You know something? I think I just about messed something up. Slope, that should have been the slope ID. Some slop. Yeah, that should have been my slope ID. This guy right here is the Y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, Y-intercept, Y-I-N-T. I think I'm labeling. Label anything you want. Okay, so that looks good. And now let's do this again. And this next one is going to be our upper bounds in our domain, which is A is equal to type text, and I believe I'm labeling that as A. Input table data table. Okay. All right, that looks good. Okay. And this one will be B. Alright, text ID, this will be B here. Boom. Okay. Our inputs. Thing about this is when you put this in and it comes out, it's a string. Okay, it's a string. And so we've got to convert it from a string to an integer. Alright, now I think I've got one more thing to do, and that is the I believe that's the button. I need to put a button in here, so let's I was trying to click on that to get it to highlight, but having some issues with that. Okay. Alright. So we've got another, so this is going to be a button here, and let's see, table data, we're only going to need one table data, and this is that button, right? And it's type button. It doesn't need an ID. However, when we click on the button, right, we got to call something, and we're going to be calling the function just f, right? We're not going to be passing any variables or anything. We just call the function f when we do that. And this should be button. So there's our end of our table data, and then our table row. We do need to call the button something though. So if we come in here, we can call this just table. How's that? Okay. And now we need to end our table because we are done with the table. So you see, creating tables is pretty easy stuff. Alright, now of course there's a lot of things that we can do. Now actually I'm going to go up here and do this. Border equals 1, and what that's going to end up doing is going to show us a border. Alright, so you can kind of see what is, you can see what's going on there. But we can do a lot of stuff here, and we're going to come back and actually do a few things, kind of customize it a little bit. I'll show you. Now this tag here, div id equals, this is going to be our output tag. Actually, I'm going to use single quotes here. Output. Alright, and always close it. Div is like a container. Think of it as like a container you have up in your shelf. Okay, we close the body. Alright, I believe that's everything. We don't need much going on with the JavaScript function. I am going to actually do that. Function, always say function f of, we're not passing any parameters, and then right now I'm just going to do that, and we're going to be writing our script in between these two brackets here, as you can see. Now this is what we're going to do next. We're going to come up here, we're going to go save, or save as. Okay, I'm going to save it as desktop. Go to all files. Now you can save it as a text file, but we want it to display on a web page. Okay, so let's see. I think I was labeling as JavaScript project A. I'll say project A. Now you want to say HT, it doesn't have to be capital, HTML. HTML, I'm just going to do that there. Okay, alright, I think we're good on that. Alright, so I went ahead, saved it to the desktop, then I clicked on the icon, and this is what comes up. Now you noticed that I turned the browser on. I turned on the borders so we can at least see the borders. Okay, I turned them on. We labeled it here, border is equal to 1, so we can actually see the borders. Whereas you can see, this looks like a whole lot cleaner. It looks a whole lot better when the borders are actually turned off. Alright, but I just wanted to show you that so you can see what's actually going on here. Now the next order of business is when we type in our numbers, which this isn't going to do anything right now because it's not going to call anything, but we'll go ahead and type our stuff in and then click the table, and we're going to get the table to appear. So that's going to be the next thing that we do here. Alright, so var means variable. M is going to be our slope. Now remember what I said, and that is that the stuff that's coming out of those boxes when you type them in are strings, and so we got to convert them back into numbers, or I'm doing it actually converting back into %. So when you can convert a string by putting it, you see this % function here, and putting the string inside, close bracket, and convert it back into an integer. Now to get this thing, wow, what is going on? Document dot get element by id. Okay, so let's see, this was the slope, I believe. So that was the ID, so that's going to go find the value, get the value out of that particular box. So think of that box that we put the slope in as being a variable. Alright. Okay, and so we're just going to copy paste, and if we can do that, we're going to do it. Let's do it again because we got 4 variables. Okay, so the first one is the slope. The second one's the Y-intercept. I'm just going to call this B1 because we actually have a B that we're going to be doing here. Y-intercept, I believe that was the name. Yep. And then so the next one we're going to call X of 1. You can call it anything you want, but you need to try to make it something you can remember. Okay, so this was A. Okay, that's your the lower bounds on that, and then this is B. All right. Okay. So if we didn't put %, right here, it's going to treat this value as a string. All right. And it's kind of weird stuff. I don't know. I have issues with it. So this is what we're going to do. Just %, the whole thing. All right. And turn it back into an integer. Okay. So this is going to be our values that are typed into our boxes here. We're going to pass them to MB1, X1, and X2. All right. Okay. Now for the neat stuff, we got the var I. Now what this is going to do, we're going to set this guy equal to 0, and what that is going to do is that's going to do that very left hand column, and it's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, however many that we're doing there. This guy here is st, and I just consider that to be a string, and it's going to string everything together. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Not, you know, the cool thing about JavaScript is you don't have to worry about white spaces. Seriously. Okay, so this is our loop. We're going from x of 1, that's going to be our A, to B, whoops, x of 2, and x plus plus. Alright, we'll go ahead and do that. Whereas in Python, if you've ever programmed in Python, oh my god, white space, man, they are anal about that. Even though it's pretty easy to catch on to. So this I is going to end up counting for our left-handed column for our left. Alright, and what this loop is, this is going from A to B, right? So let's say we're going to go from 10 to 30 or something like that. And now for our function, y is equal to, so this is our function, m times x plus b1. So this is our actual function here. And so it's going to go through here and plug in m, plug in b1, and then it's going to count. Okay, it's going to count. It's going to start putting in numbers here, getting a y value, then taking that y value and doing something with it there. All right. St actually. Let's start here. St plus. Okay, so this is the real meat and potatoes of this thing, and you may not catch on to it at first, but we're pasting a bunch of table stuff together here actually. style style is equal to, and what this actually is, actually, you know something, I'm going to leave that off for right now. I think I'll leave that off. Yeah, let's just leave that off for a second. Okay, so table data, this is that left-handed column, remember, and let's see the left hand, oh yeah, I. So this is what's going to be counting. Okay, so that's our table data. We'll start some new table data because now we got the range to deal with, and that's x, I mean the domain, I keep saying range, it's the domain, and that table data. Start some new table data, and we are almost done here. Okay, the new table data, so this is going to be F, always want to put double quotes, I'm trying to get out of that habit, I just did it, didn't I? This is equal to y in table data, in table row, I believe. Yeah, in table data, in table row. Probably have to go back and find syntax errors. Let me look at this quickly here. Yeah, I see an error right there. Okay, we got I. Y. Table data, and table row. Okay, I believe that's it. I hope. Okay, so like I said, we're just about finished here. All right, document. Now, this is going to send this element by ID. This is going to end up sending this to that div tag that I made up. Enter HTML equals. So this is what's going to display or be sent to that div tag. Now, we could have done it that way, but we'll not do that. Table. Let's see. I think we're going to go in here and do a few things. Table row. Whoops. Darn. Let's see. Then we got table data. Alright, number. So this is what was in the top column. So we had number and table data. Table data. Then domain. Table data. New table data. This was the range. Domain of the range. Yeah, so we're just doing the bare bones here. The bare bones. Whoops. Okay. So that should be the last table data. Keep doing that. Then table range. We're going to close that table range. And then close that. Well, actually, no, we got to do all that, don't we? No, wait a minute. Yeah. Table. Boom. I always put a semicolon at the end. Okay. There's some things that we need to go in here and do later. What? Something's fishy here. I've got to put the string in there somewhere. ST has to go in there. And oh, it goes in because that's your first ST. There it is. Because this part here is your first row. Okay. And then these will be all the rest of your rows. That's what the ST is over here. That's what all this stuff gets pasted together. Big long string of it. Alright. Okay. Hopefully 34 minutes has gone by. Man, this is crazy. Alright, I believe I do have it all. We're going to find out. Alright, hopefully he was able to keep up with all that. It's not that too big of a little program. It's a little big program. Alright, let's go up here, click save because I've already saved it as an HTML document. Okay, went back to the page, refresh. You know you're going to have damn typing mistake somewhere. And we'll go from 1 to 10. And of course, I wouldn't expect anything less. Alright, let me go find the syntax error. Be right back. Okay, actually, I went in there and did a few things. Took me a long enough time to, let's say, 20 table. Okay, so it looks just like the one that we just got through doing. We're going to go back. Project A, make sure I got the right one here. Yeah. Alright, let's just I initialized these guys here. That was a problem. First off, I didn't initialized them as variables. M B1 X1 X2. I guess I didn't do that. Maybe I did, but I took the vars off the side, and I went ahead and threw in what's called a style here. Now you notice I did a backward slash, and then what that'll do is that'll ignore these double quotes here. It ignores the double quotes. Okay, I did a backward slash. Width means that I'm only going to take 10% of the actual width of this column right here. So you notice that this column is a whole lot smaller than this one here, but yet these two have the same width. Okay, so 10% just made this smaller column. What else did I do? I did quite a few things actually while I was at it. Same thing here with 50%. Now this guy right here, okay, makes the font smaller or larger. Okay, threw that in, and of course I think it looks a whole lot better when we turn up some borders on. So I put border. Now you notice I put this backward slash. That ignores this single quote and this single quote here. Alright, and we did a bunch of stuff going on here so we can get this here to display. See these guys up here? Okay. And where am I at here? I'm lost. Okay, I'm trying to remember if I did anything down here. Anything special. I don't believe I did. So this is where the real magic's taking place, is on this line right here, and then of course, what the heck just happened? And then down here on this line right here. Okay, so you need to kind of experiment with this and try to hack it, right? You try to hack it. Anyway, and of course this right here, this is where our function's at, and we can put some couple forward slashes there and make a comment. It'll completely ignore everything after these two forward slashes. So this is our function. This is our function, mathematical function that is. We can always say x squared, put two x's, so that'd be x squared, or you could do this, math dot power x comma 2 for math squared. Right? Either way, let's actually hit Control S for save. Let's go back here and let's say 2 for, we'll go from 1 to 10 here. Hit table. Alright, let's take a look at this. This actually should be squared right here. Okay, so I didn't go in there and do that. But 2 times 1 squared is 2 plus 4 is going to be 6, right? And then 2, like I said, times 2 squared, but 2 squared is 4, so 2 times 4 is 8, right? 8, and then 8 and 4 is 12, as you can see. So this is a pretty handy little thing to be able to definitely to be able to do. And you need to get this down because we're going to be doing a lot of this. I'll expect you to know this in calculus when we go to print off values. All right. Okay, well, you can come on over to gotomath.com, find the link for this, and actually I'll have somewhere where you can actually click and copy and paste the code. It'll be somewhere on there. All right. Okay, see you later.